Well, I was raised on a sheep ranch. I used to butcher sheep. It looked pretty much like what I used to see in a sheep ranch, except that it stunk a lot more. And you couldn't eat it. Okay. So, the acquaintance of our animal-like body, we keep ignoring that fact that genetically, you know, there is this connection that we all share. We all have, all living organisms have DNA. Where's the soul? Now, when I was, you know, studying that body, human anatomy, I didn't see any remnants or anything amounting to a soul. Empirically, the notion of the soul is basically a metaphor for life. What do we know about life? All we know about life is what our brains tell us about life. So, what have we talked about here today, gang? What we have talked about is we've come in circles with basically a theological argument that addressed very little in terms of anything having to do with either the scientific method, the scientific approach, or the long-term scientific history and the continual replication and testing of the theory of evolution, which is going on for now, you know, over 150 years, and we still haven't come up with a better model. So, what have we got here? Basically, we've had a discussion in theology. I always love to talk theology, but this hasn't been a discussion of science.
All right, we are now going to start the question and answer. I need a volunteer from the audience. Any brave volunteers?
I got it.
Rob?
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
Two will be fine. Got it?
Yeah. You guys can both help out.
Okay. Do you want me to time these? No, that won't be necessary.
All right, we have a bunch of questions.
You better time. About 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
We have a bunch of questions, and we're going to put them in this hat, and we're going to draw them out. And we're going to try and draw them out evenly so they go back and forth. And then we'll have the questions read out loud, and the contestants will answer them. Here.
Do you want to put all of them in the hat?
Yeah, I've been trying to sort them. So let's just pull them up. Yeah, everything's at the bottom. All right, Rob.
I assume this is directed to Eric. You use the Bible to support your claims. What evidence is there that the Bible is God's Word?
Great question. What evidence is there of God's Word? First of all, it claims to be God's Word. If I asked you, hey, did Plato really exist? Was Plato really a person? Did Plato really exist? How many of you would question the existence of Plato? You would question whether or not he ever existed. What about his writings? When you read his writings, would you question whether or not he actually wrote those writings? Would you question that?
Yes. You question the Quran?
Well, it's interesting. Hey, do you want to get your own audience? Good luck. It's kind of hard for them to do that. That's why they like to yell out here. Appreciate that. Hey, Christians, thank you very much for being quiet while Frank was speaking. I appreciate that. Atheists, I know you don't have any morality, but if you just got to be quiet, I would certainly appreciate that. It's interesting because with Plato, we've got a couple hundred, or we got just less than 10 manuscripts that Plato ever existed, that he really wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey. And they're from 900 years after Plato existed. I could go on with more of those like that, but with God's Word, just to let you know, we have got 24,000 manuscripts that agree. Interesting. God makes some claims in His Word that I think only somebody outside of time, space, and matter could make. He predicted things. And He still predicts things. You go to Revelation, He predicts things that are coming. And I got to tell you, you look at this world today, and you look at Revelation and read what is coming to America. How in the end times, men shall be lovers of them own selves, covetous, boasters, blasphemers, disobedient children. God says all this stuff is going to happen in the end days. And man, I got to tell you, I'm seeing that today. What happens when people in power who believe, check this out, you guys are just like cattle. You're nothing but an animal. What happens when people that get in power believe that? How do they start acting on those individuals, their subjects, if you will? If they really believe they're nothing but an animal, you're going to see some serious hard times. You read Revelation, and I go, no wonder these times of revelation are going to come. Because people are going to be lovers of their own selves. Their own selves. And they're going to think that they are God, and they're going to rule over other people and think that they're nothing but animals. And if something happens to them, no big deal. If all of you die, they could care less. However, if you believe in a divine creator that created this world, you're going to look at people a whole lot differently. Your worldview will determine everything about you, the way you behave and what you believe. Your worldview determines everything. It's very, very important.
We're going to pull another question on behalf of Frank. Well, will you do the honors?
She's got it. I don't know which one of these is Frank's. Yeah.
Frank, if we should believe in evolution, how did we get the rest of the elements if we confuse any more than iron, evolution guy?
I'm sorry, I didn't know. Good question.
Good question.
Throw it out.
Frank, if we came from apes, then how did chimps and gorillas didn't evolve?
Well, this is a misconception, of course, again, because somebody is looking at evolution as trajectory and progress. Evolution is not a pine tree of upward direction. Evolution is a bush, a very, very tangled bush. Apes and chimps are our cousins. Okay? And if you don't believe it, let me tell you something. I'll bring my cousin Pat up here, who's the last living Neanderthal. He can tie his shoes without bending over.
That is science.
All right, next question.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
This has 3 questions on it. This is to Eric. Didn't dogs evolve from wolves? That's evolution.
The dogs evolved from wolves. There are over 250 varieties of dogs in the world today. All the dogs probably had a common ancestor. I'm going to go with a dog. How about that? Not going to go with banana or anything like that. We're going with a dog. Probably the Chihuahua and the Great Dane had a common ancestor because they're both what? If you consider the Chihuahua a dog. Personally, I'm on the edge there, okay? But anyway, you got some big differences between the different dogs in the dog kind. I think the dog, the wolf, and the coyote had a common ancestor. Yes, they did. You say, Eric, that's evolution. No, it's not. It's the same kind of animal. You say, well, it's a different species. Well, now we're down to definitions. How do we define things? I say a dog, a wolf, and a coyote are the same kind of animal. You can interbreed them for crying out loud in some instances. It's the same kind of animal. Not at all, I know. I mean, there's some mechanical problems. You could interbreed a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, but, mechanically that's kind of difficult. And I guarantee their ancestor was not a banana, all right? This is not the case. Anybody can tell you, obviously, the banana does not belong there. National Geographic did wolf to woof. How did we get the evolution of the dogs today? The reality is, they're looking at it saying,